Hi guys, I'm really happy that I'm here with you. I hope you're all doing well and you can be in the best situation that you can be at this point. And I want to thank Ellie for giving me this time to talk about what I'm going to talk about. I'm gonna start my whole speech with a cheesy quotation. You might be like, okay, I'm gonna pause it and I'm never gonna listen to this podcast again. So please don't, because I really have a point using that. The quotation is that something that people really use a lot, and we all have heard it like a billions of times during our life, during this motivational speaks and whatever. And the quotation is, life goes on. Life doesn't care. Life doesn't stop for you. It's a really cheesy quotation since people use it a lot. And since people use it a lot during the time you're trying to go through grief, and you're kind of trying to pass the shocking point in your life and trying to figure out how you feel about stuff and everything. But I believe that this quotation is actually very, very strong one if you use it at a great time and with a good reasoning. And there is a reason why I kind of chose this quotation to start what I wanted to tell you with, and there is that I believe there is some part in every change in a society, in a country, or in the world that we always miss, and that is actually life. We never talk about, we don't usually talk about normal life when we are talking about a change, or like a revolution or a war or whatever that is so big in our head. We never go through what is called normal life. We never actually, I think, talk about how people were living their normal lives during this time, getting affected by the news or the chaotic things that were happening around them. We always miss that. And I think for most people, this is something that they're experiencing alongside what is going on as a change in their society or their country or in the world. And I think that this is a really, really important thing to consider. You know, if something is going on in your country and if you're really, really committed to make a change yourself, you have to consider your mental health. You have to consider your happiness. You have to consider how you can make yourself better, how you can make your life feel better to make other people's lives better. So, and what I'm really, really not cool with is the way people are treating each other because of having a normal life, like they don't have it themselves. Okay, we are going through a chaotic time and we are going through a change. I understand that. Life is not like what it was before. But as someone who has lived in this country that was going through a big change every 10 days, and I can't really, really anticipate what is going to happen in my 10 seconds after right now, I can tell you that if you stop living your normal life, if you kind of stop for something, life doesn't care. It goes on. And you are kind of just ignoring it, or you're kind of making it not looking cool, but it doesn't stop for you anyway. So if you're kind of criticizing other people on times that are kind of changing, for being normal, for enjoying a cup of coffee, for going for a walk, for laughing, actually, for having a birthday party, this is not really suiting with me, since I believe we all need that time to recover. We all need that great time, that leisure time, that pleasure time to come back to ourselves and to see what we want, to figure out what we feel good about. So, please take care of yourselves. We are all in a very, very weird time in the world, not just in our country, in my country, but in the world. And I think what is really important is to love one another and to live a normal life as possible. It's not like before, but you can still have it since it's always there, and you just have to go look for it, maybe.
Well, hello everyone, and welcome to chapter 96 of The Last Thoughts of a Busy Mind. This chapter is gonna be called How to Keep Going. As is usual for this season, you heard from one of my friends at the beginning who discussed the importance of normal life and being able to go on and have a good mental health regimen for yourself, doing stuff that you find pleasurable. Now, to be honest, there are aspects of it that I myself do not adhere to, but I do understand her point. This episode is gonna be bi-sided. Basically, one half of it I'm gonna be discussing how to keep going, and the other half I'm gonna discuss a urgent matter at the end. So, I do understand her point, and that got me thinking, because I think you are aware of my own view on the point is that normal life in any way should be disrupted. And it was perhaps a little bit short-sighted of me to think that that is possible for long amounts of time. Truth is, fighting an enemy as big as the Islamic Republic requires a lot of energy and a lot of force. It is basically a war of attrition at this point, because the government is going to use everything in his power it's basically his, in his power to destroy the will of the people, to do basically anything they can to tire people and make them hopeless, make them feel like it's not going to end anytime soon. And the way I've been going, because I am a good example of this, they might succeed, which is basically not to have any resemblance of a normal life. Again, I'm not saying go back to work, don't work the cog of the system, but I think it is important to remember that, well, day-to-day life does matter, because you can't basically spend every hour protesting. You'll be burnt out, basically. Because for a long time I was. The fact that a couple of weeks ago I went and met my friends, we didn't go out, I just went to their house and I talked to them for a couple of hours. At the end of that day, I felt like I was recharged. I was thinking of what else I can do. I even wrote something that I'm hoping to be useful at some point. So yeah, these are important. It is, as I said, a bit short-sighted of me to feel like, no, every resemblance of normal life should be destroyed. But I don't think it needs to. It needs to be disrupted. Like, you should protest as much as you can. You should go out, you should yell, you should strike, even if all of that is not in your power, or for some fucking reason you don't want to. You can, at the very least, devote a huge chunk of your online presence to making the voices of the people who are imprisoned heard, people who are in danger of execution. And executions are a tactic of Islamic Republic. They've been using it ever since they gained power. The cases of the executions in the 1980s, where they basically executed every political opponent that they had, even political brothers that they just slightly disagreed with. So they have been using it, and they have been ramping it up, and that's the second part of this. God, I'm recording this at 2:30 p.m. By the way, my drink is Coca-Cola caffeine free. I'm sorry I didn't say it. Yesterday, around morning, the Islamic Republic executed a 23-year-old by the name of Mohsen Shekari. And I want you to remember that. I want you to remember that name. That name is important. He's not the first one they have executed. They've been executing people everywhere. But the thing that makes him very notable is that, first of all, again, a 23-year-old for the crime of backing up a street and slightly injuring a Basiji, which is sort of like Hitler Youth in Iran. An injury that, according to, well, himself, even the Basiji itself was saying, I'm gonna forgive you. The fact is, they kept him in silence. They sort of said to his family that if you keep it silent, we're gonna release him. They didn't. They executed him. In record time, by the way, in 3 months, in 2 months, yeah. In a record time, they gave him a conviction. They arrested him, gave him a conviction, did a trial, in quotation mark, and executed him. I can't tell you the amount of force that is on my head right now, like all of these different emotions, anger, despair. But that's to tie it back, is the point. Islamic Republic loves using executions to, again, go on with the war of attrition, make it harder to go on, make it harder to destroy them. And the fact is, if they remain, they're gonna do more of it. This is another thing that just hours before I started recording this, I was given notice that acquaintance of mine by the name of Hossein Mohammadi, and I want you to remember that name, and I want you to go to any social media of your choice, and even if anything else is out of your hand, if you can do something, that would be amazing. If not, even go to your social media of choice, go to any political activist that you know and give them his name. This is the least I can do. And I want... Fuck. I'm sorry, I'm not well, physically well. I've been sick for the past 2 days, but I needed to record this. And this is a war of attrition, as I said. If they remain in power, they're gonna do more, in the hopes that they will either run out people's patience and escalate it to an armed conflict, which then they could potentially kill even more people, even though they don't really need an excuse. They are already fucking murdering people left and right. But the other thing is, they want to make us hopeless. They want to make people feel like they are alone, they are hopeless. And in times like that, it's important to know how to keep going. I have almost 6 minutes left to talk, so I'm gonna talk about the fact that, listen, there is nothing we legally can do to stop these executions, because there isn't any law in this country. There isn't any organization that's gonna help us. There are a couple of things. You need to make their names known. Don't let them be in silence like Mohsen's arrest and conviction was. So yell their name at the top of your lung. Just yell it out. Tell everyone that they got, even if you got a nosebleed by Basiji, let it be known. Because the fact is, they do use that anonymity. I don't know the word. They will use the fact that these are silent people who do not have a big media coverage, to do whatever they want. It's something that they wished to had gotten away with Mahsa's death, which thankfully didn't happen because of the bravery of a few journalists and the more bravery of a massive amount of activists. And there is no words I can tell to thank everyone. But it's important to know how to keep going. Again, this is a war of attrition. You need all of your energy to defeat this foe. So yeah, do your part, yell their name, give your part, go out if you are able, strike if you are able. Be sure to discuss the current affairs with your friends and family, even if they seem completely lost. Even if you can convince one person, it's enough, in my opinion. The fact is, normal life has been disrupted. There is no such thing as life as it was, as I said in the first episode of this season, in chapter 91. There is no such thing as life as it was. But the fact is, every day, even hours, we are still breathing, and we are talking, and we're thinking, and you need to have a part of it for yourself. It's a music you like, just listen to it a few more times these days. Is a movie you like, watch it a few more times. If you are an extroverted person, try to talk to more people. If you're an introverted like me, try to speak to your friends. Basically, remember, even though the normal life is disrupted, you can't go on with the disruption indefinitely. You will burn out. The truth is, we are at a disadvantage, both in terms of literal disadvantage, both in terms of weaponry and influence and power against an enemy who's spent 40 years building up an arsenal. And also, we have a moral compass. We have basic human rights in mind. We care about other people. They don't. It's harder for us. It's much easier for them to keep killing. I don't know what was the point. Like, if you ask me, I don't know what I said. I'm not well, as I said. And the fact that someone I know is at the cusp of taking their life being taken, and the fact that Mohsen Shekari has had his life taken, and the fact that he's not even the first. There have been many people executed and many people murdered. I can't take it. And the fact is, as I said, I am a good example of what disrupting the normal life to an indefinite amount will do to you. I was utterly broken, and when I'm utterly broken, I know I'm not useful to the movement. I'm an utterly broken person. Like right now, I am utterly broken, and I can't think of anything to do because I can't do anything. So I need a little bit of recharge to be able to do more stuff. If you're an Iranian and listening to this, if you're outside of Iran, just as usual, be our voice. Please just be our voice. Remember that. Remember that. Remember that you are in a unique position and you can help us by being our voice. Remember to pressure people around you to do something. Don't let us be forgotten. If you are inside of Iran, remember that we are in the majority. There are more of us than there are them. Even though they have all of the weapons, bullets are not infinite. Especially when they are losing allies left and right. I don't know what that noise is. Take care of yourselves. You are as important as everyone out there. you need to take care of yourselves in order to defeat the fucking Islamic Republic.